This is MaxPreps Friday Night Live, powered by American Family Insurance.
And we're going to go straight to the phone line now where we have head coach Steve Trevisano from Mentor High School in Ohio. Head coach, you have a huge game tomorrow. How do you guys prep for such a big game a night like today, a day before? Thank you very much for talking to us, first of all.
Sure, no problem. You know, we're excited about the opportunity to play a big game. But you know what, we play a number of them throughout the year, and this is a team we've played 4 times in 2 years. So, you know, it's a team we know pretty well, and they're excited to get a chance to play again.
Coach, you get St. Ignatius tomorrow night, and obviously a big rivalry. You mentioned that you play them 4 times in a 2-year time period. In the regular season, they gave you your only loss. What might you learn from that game that might help you tomorrow?
Well, you know, I think our big thing we've learned is we were pretty young to begin with. We have 14 underclassmen starting, and you know, it was one of those things where you got to see where you're at. And at this point, you know, what we told them when that game was over is that's where we need to be. And when we get our opportunity again, we've got to make sure we've gotten ourselves to that point. So we'll find out tomorrow if we've gotten ourselves to their level, and we'll see where we're at tomorrow night.
Coach, last week against St. Edward's, one of the greatest games in the history of Ohio high school football. You guys trailed 56-35 late in the game. You came back to win. What do you tell your guys, when you're trailing late against a team as good as St. Edward? How do you keep them focused, and how did you guys pull off the comeback?
Well, you know, we always talk all the time. It's a 48-minute game, and we got to keep battling. And when you got a quarterback like Mitch Trubisky, you have the opportunity to stay in the game. And when we were down 21, we said, let's get it to 14. All it takes is one stop, and it's a ball game. And you know, there was about 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, and we scored and turned around and made the stop and scored again. So going into the fourth quarter, it's a 7-point game, and that's right where we needed to be. And we made 2 more stops, and we're able to win the game. So you know, it's a long game, and when you got the ability to score, you got to turn it into that. You just got to keep fighting and battling, and we were able to get the win there last Saturday night.
Coach, you mentioned the ability to score. It seems like you guys have that often, a lot of opportunities to score for folks watching. Can you kind of describe your offense? Because it's a little different than probably what people think of when they think of Ohio high school football.
Yeah, and luckily the weather's supposed to be good tomorrow. You know, we're pretty much a 5 wide receiver set, and we will shift guys in and run the ball and do different things. But you know, we're a pretty wide open spread offense, and we're going to go at a very fast pace, and we're going to throw the ball around and mix some run in there, and try to just keep people off balance. And we've been able to do that pretty well over the last 2 years, and won probably about 22 games in the last 2 years. So it's worked well for us.
Coach Trevisano, thank you so much for joining us this evening on MaxPreps right here on Friday Night Live. We wish you the best of luck, and hopefully, yes, the weather will be good for you.
No doubt. The quarterfinals of their state playoffs in the state of Ohio, and we look at the rest of the country. There are now 5 states that have wrapped up their state championships. You see there that Alaska has been joined by South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Vermont. And you see the gray states up there in the Northeast?
Yes.
Yeah, they're lagging behind everyone a little bit. They have their last week of the regular season tonight, which means that by next week, this entire map will be either blue or red, meaning everyone's in the playoffs or has crowned their state champion. So we have got it in full swing. It is playoff fever across the country.
Yeah, but there's one more state that's wrapping up their playoff. Earlier today, actually, they wrapped it up. Steve, what are we talking about here? Talk to us. Clear it up.
Talking about the state of Utah right now, they're playing their 4A final, and Timpview trails Mountain Crest 9-7 at the half. 4A is the second largest classification in the state of Utah. The largest is 5A, which was played earlier this afternoon, kind of an early kick, which is works out well for people on deadline in the media. But Jordan won 58-2, absolute, just outstanding performance, and they're led by their sophomore quarterback Austin Kafensis, who is the reigning National Freshman of the Year on MaxPreps. He had over 4,500 yards as a freshman, and he had 45 total touchdowns as a freshman, and he had 6 touchdowns in the first half tonight. So he's kind of improving on, we talked about Ben Stuckett. How do you improve on 4 interceptions returned for a touchdown? If you're Austin Fences, how do you improve on 4,500 yards as a 9th grader? And he's done it. He's had a huge sophomore season. And, from the state of Utah, we saw Bingham a few years ago emerge as sort of a national power on the national scene, playing some out-of-state games, kind of carrying the flag for Utah high school football. And now Jordan, decisive Class 5A state title winners, with a young quarterback who will be back for his junior season next year and some other key players back as well. This is now a team that we may start to see appear on the national rank. They have the playmaker behind center. They have some other key guys back, so it would not surprise me to see Jordan, maybe challenge themselves and play a few teams out of state, maybe go to Southern California, maybe travel to Colorado to kind of test themselves against some of the nation's best, because I think, guys, that we will begin to see this team ranked among the nation's elite the next.
All right, we'll keep your word on that. Thank you very much, Steve. And PlayOnSportsNetwork.com, they provide these live looks, so it's time to do just that. We're going to check in on one of these games right now. We're checking in on Lincoln and Franklin, where Lincoln is down 7-0 in the first quarter.
Franklin comes in undefeated, and they have revenge on their mind in this game, as they were bounced a year ago by Lincoln 56-27 in the state playoffs. And we will have to see tonight if they are able to bounce back. And they say to themselves, look, this is a team that ended our season a year ago. Mm-hmm. We got to be up and ready for this game. And it looks like, at least early on, they are.
Yeah, you kind of feel a little bruised and like you have something to prove. Is that correct, Steve?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think Lincoln was probably the number 1 team in the Sac Joaquin section to start the season. They had 3 losses, and Franklin has looked nearly flawless, and so kind of switch roles from the earlier part of the season. But guys, this is a talented Lincoln team. Justin Davis is a running back committed to USC. He had a huge junior season, and he's been solid as well as a senior. So if he gets going, it could be a long night for Franklin. But you gotta think that Franklin should hold on. But this one is definitely worth keeping an eye on, given the talent that Lincoln has, particularly on the offensive side of the ball.
Lincoln in the white jerseys we see right there, as this game is in Elk Grove, California, the home of the Franklin Wildcats. I talked about the revenge that they had earlier. 17 starters returned from that team a year ago. So they were pretty young a year ago. So you have to imagine those 17 plus the underclassmen from a year ago who are a little bit older remember the game 1 year ago. They're now back in the second round of these playoffs. And you have to think they're saying to themselves, look, we don't get mad, we get even. And they're going to say, we're going to take care of Lincoln this year. We're undefeated 11-0. Lincoln comes in 8-3, ranked in the top 100 in the state. But ultimately, Franklin has that unblemished 11-0 record.
Don't get mad, get even. This live look brought to you by PlayOnSportsNetwork.com. And, of course, we will have updates throughout the evening of that game there. But now it is time where you talk about the top 5 plays of the week. So what do you have for us?
I will tell you that right before the show, I got to the mirror and I said to myself, it's time. This is what we've all been waiting for. You got to get pumped up for the top 5 plays of the week.
We are too.
I know, so let's go. Let's go to it. Play number 1. This one comes to us from the state of Florida, the Sunshine State. This is from Daytona Beach, Mainland High School. Watch the jets this kid turns on, Cameron Hadley, and then the jet takes off. Whoop, woo, into the end zone. That's a touchdown for Cameron and our first play of the week. Got awfully excited about that.
Yeah.
How about Holliston High School? And how about this beautiful catch on top of his helmet? Zach Elkinson doing his best David Tyree impersonation from the Super Bowl a few years ago. Look at Zach place the ball on top of his head and take it to the hizzy. That is a touchdown for Zach. Let's move on to play number 3. This is Bassfield High School. This is Josh Applewhite, who's going to take the snap right here. Pitches it to Josh. Josh throws it up top into the rafters, and Jeffrey Smith lays out. Yeah, number one. No, that's a touchdown. Beautiful pass and catch, Applewhite to Smith. Now we go to Highland High School. That's in Idaho, and this is Michael Berceris. Michael spins out of the tackle, and then he is GAWN
one, baby.
Gone off to the races. That kid, that is 95-yard touchdown from Michael Berseses. All right, let's move on to play number 5. This one comes to you from Woodland High School. It's in Cartersville, Georgia. This is Quay Stocks, who splits the defenders and takes it all the way to the end zone on his own. Stocks are going up in Cartersville, Georgia. That's a touchdown, and that is our 5th play of the week.
And I will let you now get a swig of water. Thank you very much for bringing us those top 5 plays.
This is MaxPreps Friday Night Live, powered by American Family Insurance.